So the first tasting of France versus Australia, we've got two Chardonnays here. I mentioned earlier Burgundy, the home of Chardonnay, but perhaps more known, the oak Chardonnay, certainly from coming from the Côte d'Or, which includes the Côte de Beaune and the Côte de Nuits. Here I've picked a wine from Chablis. Now, most people probably, unless you've drunk much Grand Cru Chablis, will know Chablis as mineral, clean, fresh, citrusy, and that is absolutely what this wine is. However, Grand Cru Chablis, pretty much in all cases, are also oak aged. So this is a Grand Cru Chablis. Yeah? This is the highest delineation from the appellation system. They're the highest quality wines in Chablis. There's 7 different climats or sub-regions of different Grand Cru groupings of Grand Cru Chablis. So you've got Gremois, Valmeur. This is from Vaudecia. You've got Blanchot. You've got Leclos. You'll have to forgive me the other 2. You have to go and look those 2 up. But this is from Vaudecia, so I'm expecting here to have that wonderful mineral quality. And this is from the soils that you get in Chablis. It comes from an age called the Kimmeridgian. So the soil here, the undersoil is called Kimmeridgian clay. And it's when there's water over this whole area before the last ice age, and lots of shellfish shells drop to the bottom of the sea and form this layer of calcium. And this is what defines this mineral quality that we get in Chablis because of this Kimmeridgian clay undersoil. The wine here from Shaw & Smith, this is from Adelaide Hills. So we're not far out of Adelaide at all here, only about 15 miles away from Adelaide. Huge hill region here, and this is from their highest vineyards from Shaw & Smith, Martin Shaw and Michael Smith. And Michael Smith is also a master of wine, so this is the top qualification in winemaking, a really seriously knowledgeable gentleman. There's less than 1,000 of these masters of wine in the world, and he was one of the originals as well. He was in 1989 when he got his Master of Wine, so he's one of the first 100 or so. Great winemaker. The soils here, very nicely, it tells us on the bottle, are loam and clay over shale. So that rings a little bit similar to what we're seeing in Chablis. So maybe we'll have this slight mineral quality from their Lenswood vineyard, which is their highest vineyard. And these grapes are only from there. It's their best vineyard, 500 meters above sea level. Now, this is really important because when we talk about the difference between French wine and Australian wine, normally we're linking it to the climate. And so French wine, yeah, usually a little bit fresher, a bit more acidic, but that means also really well balanced for oak Chardonnays. Here in Australia, sometimes we think of these wines as being a bit too chunky. That's sometimes the criticism. They're a bit too overripe. But it's going to be interesting to see because this is 500 metres above sea level. That should temper the effect slightly. And what we know about the wine so far is from our fact sheets, actually the Lenswood is 13 in alcohol content and 13.5 in the Grand Cru Chablis. So we probably expect it to be the other way around, but these are the best sites in Chablis, the warmest sites facing southeast, and that from the best grapes, and that's why there's slight difference here. Also, the acidity levels we can see from our fact sheets are actually higher in the Shaw & Smith, where they're up near 7 compared to under 4 in the Grand Cru Chablis. So this is going to make it really difficult, I think, to tell the 2 apart. But okay, so we're going to taste the wines now. I should probably also mention how long these wines have been oak aged for. So the Lenswood, I'm told, is oak aged for 10 months and 12 months for the Grand Cru Chablis. It's hard to deduce from that exactly how much oak flavour is going to be imparted in the wine because it's different in different barrels and different parts of the world, temperatures. So yeah, they're pretty similar here. It's not giving us much clues in terms of the oak aging in the wine. So I'm going to taste this wine first. I don't know which wine this is. These are not any particular way around. My lovely producer here has put these down for me and not giving me any clues at all. Okay, so yeah, I can definitely pick up really beautiful vanilla notes here, toasty notes. But also, yeah, definitely some lemon coming through here. Definitely some of those sort of fruit flavours, floral flavours that we expect, sort of mineral qualities, white flower. On the palate, beautiful buttery flavour, almost slightly like burnt butter, like burnt noisette sauce, and type of flavour, and that real steeliness coming through as well. The acidity in the wine, yeah, certainly it's pretty high. I'd call that medium high on a 5-point scale. I'm just going to go back and taste it again, but I can really taste that mineral quality. So you might guess where that's making me lean towards for this wine. Just thinking about the body of the wine. It's quite big. It's certainly quite big, a bit of viscosity there. Very interesting. So I'm going to move on to wine B here, Chardonnay B. Completely different nose, really, really different. Not as much oak flavour at all. But it still has that underneath. You can still get some of that butteriness, but not as strong. It's almost got a slight nuttiness to this wine as well. That is a character you'd expect to see in oak Chardonnay, certainly as they age a bit longer. These wines both from the same vintage, so that's not giving me much for a clue either. But yeah, certainly more apple coming through here, more fruit flavours coming through. Apple and lemon. It actually really delivers exactly what it does on the nose. And sometimes when we're judging the quality of wine, that's something we look for. Does it stand up on the palate to how it seems on the nose? And this wine delivers it exactly. I'd say there's more complexity in this wine. There's a longer length of flavour, which again indicates high quality, and really nice subtle balance between the different characteristics in the wine. You taste fruit, a little bit of oak, a little bit of depth, texture, and then the acidity comes back later on. Yeah, wow, really beautiful wines. I'm going to score both the wines. I think for the first wine I tasted, Chardonnay A, I'm going to give that a 7.2. And on my left, I'm going to give that a 7.8. I've got some cheese to taste alongside the wines today. So I've picked for the Chardonnay. So, oak Chardonnay, in my experience, goes particularly well with hard aged cheeses. So I picked an aged Gouda here, an old Amsterdam. And I've written a little bit for you, and you should get that in Vance, and you can maybe pick up these cheeses. It'll be great for the tasting. So I hope some of you are going to try this out. But there's other great food pairings as well, which I've written down, which you could also have with these beautiful Chardonnays. So as Gouda or Gouda ages, it starts to develop salt crystals. And yeah, I'm picking those up. So I know it's a really good aged quality Gouda. It's really good with wine A. That's a really nice combination. I'd have that, a really good pairing. I'd have that up at about 75% pairing. That's a pretty high score. It's tough, all this eating cheese and drinking wine. Again, it's a really good combination, but this is why we taste two wines alongside each other and two bits of the same cheese, because we're limiting all the variables. And this is going to enhance the differences between the two wines. And this it brings out the more appley qualities in the wine, whereas here, more of the oak flavours were brought out in the wine. So really interesting, but again, a really good combination. It was very different, but exactly the same. I'll give it 75% as well for the pairing.